Here we have the 2-hour price chart for NVIDIA Corporation, stock ticker NVDA. The NVIDIA is making its way into the news today because we're actually seeing some price declines. I believe that the article that I saw said NVIDIA falls by 1%. And this was a news story. It was like uh, major news that we're actually seeing some negative price movement in the stock, and it was only down by 1%. So that kind of gives you a broader picture of where we stand here with this stock. I mean, anything that's not positive, is somehow a major negative. If you're in the financial news media, so a little bit ridiculous. One of the major news stories that was seen today was that there was actually a downgrade, an analyst downgrade. We saw it's kind of a minor investment firm. I believe they're called New Street Research. They downloaded NVIDIA from a buy to a hold. They think that there's limited upside from here. So, um, we actually saw a downgrade. I mean, it's still a hold. I mean, it's not a sell or anything like that. So I don't know how negative you really want to interpret that information. But as we can see here, we did have a bit of a bearish candle here. This is a red candle, but we're already recovering a lot of those gains here. And as I was saying in the prior video analysis, I do expect this trading range here to break to the top side. Um, I don't see much, there's not much here. I'm not seeing much on the chart, which really suggests that, we're really in store for a major turnaround here. In the prior video, there were a lot of comments from people talking about how this is going to crash. This is going to drop. I don't know. Are they AMD fans or something like that? You've got an AMD GPU, not an RTX, not a GeForce. Uh, I don't know why some of these people are so hostile to NVIDIA. But there wasn't much explanation with those comments either. So if you do want to, make a projection like that, just tell me why you think so. If you think one guy said he thinks it's falling to 105, it's like, okay, great. That's terrific. You can have that opinion. Well, more than welcome to have an opinion, but I'd like to hear why you think that if you're gonna write comments like that. And please do. I'm not trying to discourage anybody from leaving a comment like that. Go ahead by all means. But currently, there's not much on this chart that really points to a rollover here. In the last video, I did kind of point to a potential head and shoulders pattern here. I mean, you can kind of see it, and I kind of drew this out here like this for a reason because this is actually starting to look like a head and shoulders pattern, and I'm surprised I haven't heard anybody say that. Um, you know, CNBC, you had your opportunity. You could have pointed out if you want to be negative on the stock. How about you point to that? Here we've got a left shoulder here ahead on the pattern, and then a right shoulder. We've even got a clearly defined neckline. So there's your head and shoulders pattern. The problem is that we need confirmation of that pattern and a break to the downside. That's what I was referring to here with this arrow here. I'm surprised. Why is nobody? Come on, like you've got eyes, people. Like let's point out some fairly obvious price patterns here, and this is a fairly obvious price pattern. I don't know why people aren't mentioning this. I haven't heard anybody say this. It hasn't completed itself, so I'm not saying it's time to get bearish on this stock. I don't see anything here that suggests a turnaround. Other than what could be an emerging head and shoulders pattern. But if we break out of this range here to the top side, that would essentially invalidate the pattern. And there would no longer be a head and shoulders pattern. So, at the moment, if I'm really trying to find, negative evidence here, or some sort of evidence that the stock is ready to reverse, the most I could come up with would be, we've got an emerging bearish pattern here, although it hasn't completed itself. And we have this new street research, kind of a no-name, analyst firm that downgraded this stock from a buy to a hold. There have been two analyst downgrades this year for NVIDIA. Two out of, there's a large number of possibilities there, and only two of these places seem to think that NVIDIA is heading lower. So, currently, I want to point out, just some of the reasons. So now that I've gone over the potential bearish reasons here, I do want to go over the potential positives because they're here. One would be this rising indicator condition on the 2-hour chart. It's a little bit short term here, but there is a nice slope on this. This does look like a sustainable slope. in the positive momentum reading for the relative strength index on the 2-hour time frame. And this 1% decline that CNBC was pointing out, this is financial news, people. NVIDIA is down by 1%. There's an analyst downgrade. We actually managed to find one piece of possibly negative evidence against this stock. God, if that's all you can come up with, like, that really does show how strong the broader picture is here. Feel like God, people, that's the best you can do. That's the best you can come up with. So we do have this upward slope in the indicator reading, and we are again pressuring, these range highs here. We've got a bit of a trading range here, but we're above all of the exponential moving averages, and even during periods of decline. I mean, you've got a bit of a fundamental story there. Like, you do okay, so you've got an analyst downgrade, but even in that situation, you saw declines of maybe 1%, and those declines have recovered themselves. So, we're right back at the highs here, and we're right back to pressuring this short-term trading range. I was trying to point out some possible negatives here. But even when I try to do that, I run into a wall pretty quickly, because there are just not many reasons to be bearish to this stock, even if I'm looking for reasons. So currently, I would side with the positive trend momentum that is continuing to develop. Currently, we're trading at roughly 5750 in the relative strength index, so that's really close to the midpoint of the histogram. The middle point of this chart indicator down here. So that what that means is that there's a lot of room here to extend to the top side. You could probably make a new all-time high, and you wouldn't be significantly oversold. You've got a lot of room here to extend to the top side. So overall, I'm not seeing much reason here to be negative. There are people that want to call it a top to the stock. I understand, you want to feel like you've got a crystal ball and you can predict the future and all that stuff. It's going to go to 105. Okay, that's perfectly fine. If you do feel like that, just explain why. Like, how are you coming up with that number? Because 105 sounds kind of random. It sounds like you're just kind of pulling a number out of a hat. So, I'm perfectly open to having conversations about potential moves to the downside in this stock. Anything can happen. The market can do whatever it wants. There are thin trading conditions, because this is a holiday thinned trading week. We had the 4th of July holiday yesterday. And when that happens, especially during the summer, a lot of people kind of take their orders out of the market, and then don't bring them back in until the following Monday. So that could create some some outsized moves here, and increased volatility. But for the most part, that does not appear to be happening. We're kind of grinding through this upward trading range here. And then if this does occur, I'm expecting a retest of the all-time highs, which come in at 140.76. Here's the current market analysis for NVIDIA Corporation, stock ticker NVDA.